It's good to see you.
Good afternoon. Good to see everyone here today. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on some of the wonderful things we're doing in the Department of General Services. We have some of our division managers here, so you can put a face with the wide variety of services that we provide to employees and residents of Chesterfield County. So I'd like to just do a quick introduction. Craig Willingham, he's our Assistant Director. We have Jason Stone from Office of Security Management, Jeremy Wilkinson from the airport, Jeff Howard from Waste and Resource Recovery, Earl Kirby, Buildings and Grounds, David Cottingham from Fleet Services, Kevin Ruthier from the radio shop, and Julia Reynolds, who's our energy manager. Yasna Ellsworth could not be here with us today. She is taking care of her daughter. Many of you know her daughter was in an accident, so she's home helping take care of her. So, but we talked, and she was trying to figure out a way to be here, and said, "No, let's go ahead and take care of your daughter." So, make sure she's good with that. As we go through this presentation, just want to point out we have 9 different divisions in General Services that have a key role in the success of our program. So during our time today, we're going to focus on 6 of those 9 divisions, those 6 being capital projects, energy management, fleet services, property and lease management, security management, and waste and resource recovery. I do want to highlight a few, the 3 that we're not going to focus on, but just a quick tidbit on each of Buildings and Grounds, Radio Shop, and Airport. For Buildings and Grounds, they are still remaining very active with facility and ground maintenance programs, including our major maintenance projects and preventive maintenance efforts. The picture in the upper left-hand corner shows the innovative partnership our Buildings and Grounds team developed with a local welder in response to a request from the Sheriff's Office. We found a better way to store umbrellas so that the interior floors do not get wet. Our radio shop continues to support the installation and maintenance of the 800 megahertz radios and support the emergency center consoles. We're heavily involved in the system testing for the Motorola project. And then for the airport, we'll provide a detailed update at our usual December Board of Supervisors meeting. However, Dr. Miller wanted to point out that we met with Chesterfield schools to begin the discussion about a possible aviation program with the school system. Very productive meeting, and we'll have more to report out about that as we continue our conversations. Do want to mention that we have a movie night coming up at the airport. October 5th is going to be Planes, Fire, and Rescue. So bring your kids, grandkids, nieces, and nephews, and enjoy the movie night at the airport. Our capital projects management, our major maintenance program continues to address major system replacement projects. Recently, we've experienced a poor bid response on the jail HVAC replacement project, and we're working with the engineer for the jail HVAC replacement project to optimize the sequence of construction so that contractors will provide a better bid pricing. We're working on the Meadowdale Library roof as pictured in the slide, and we're also working on Chester Library, Chester House HVAC, and exterior lighting upgrades as part of our major maintenance program. As noted by Fire, we recently completed Matoaka Fire Station number 8 and are beginning design on Chester Fire Station number 1. We're starting preliminary design for the Enon Library. We will have a series of public involvement meetings to obtain input from the public. Construction is planned for late 2025 and completion by late 2026. We plan to include a geothermal HVAC system for the Enon Library project. Very excited about that. The renovations at La Prade Library, which will include relocating the main entrance, modifying the interior layout, and enhancing meeting space and improving the staff service area. This project will be advertised this fall, and the proposed construction schedule will avoid the November elections, including the early voting for that. Yes, ma'am.
Where are you doing geothermal?
At Enon,
Oh,
at the
awesome.
Enon Library.
Awesome. We do a lot of that in Wisconsin, just asking.
A lot of space, a lot of ground space at that new site. It's going to be a new site for that library, so we're very excited about that. But for the La Prade Library, we are adjusting the construction schedule to avoid the election windows that Missy had just talked about with the 2 weeks before election and leading up on 2024 and 2025 election.
Thank Mr. Neal. Thank you for that. We appreciate your accommodation for the voters. That's paramount. I think we need to look at that throughout the county so that there are few impediments and there's ample lighting. And I want to request some additional lighting, probably at the Central Library, the other entrance, not from the county, but the other side, which is Laura Road, I believe it is.
Okay.
Make sure we take a look at that lighting so you can see at nighttime. It gets to be relatively dark, so I think we should take a look at that as well. Since the Central Library is now a precinct as well.
Okay.
So that's something to look at. Thank you.
We can certainly partner with police. They have some mobile trailers that we've deployed in a couple of other cases and be able to do that.
Thank you.
Let's see. All right. Our energy management program. So currently we have 11 operational solar arrays in the county, 4 at county facilities and 7 at school facilities. Our Public Safety Training Center, Fleet Services, Beulah Recreation Center, and the Midlothian Library currently have operational solar arrays on them. And then on the school side, we have Beulah, Enon, Ettrick, Harrogate, Matoaka, Mosley, and Old Hundred elementary schools. We have 5 school facilities in the planning and design stage for the next round of solar arrays. Those sites are Evergreen Elementary School, Fallen Creek Middle School, Meadowbrook High School, Swift Creek Middle School, and the Western Area Middle School. In fiscal year 2024, our solar arrays produced approximately $190,000 in savings, cost avoidance, and a carbon reduction of 3,060 tons. Going forward, we will evaluate all facilities for solar as we complete new construction, renovations, and roof replacements. Our energy manager, Ms. Reynolds, is heavily involved in conducting utility audits to ensure the water, sewer, and electric consumption in our facilities are efficient. Our fleet services team was recently recognized as the 27th best green fleet by the National Association of Fleet Administrators. This award recognizes our fleet sustainability efforts and our innovative programs. Our fleet team is currently working on selecting a new fleet management information system, also known as FMIS, and a new telematics system. We're looking for a new FMIS system that will provide more robust maintenance and accounting tracking, work order tracking, and integrated reporting. Additionally, we plan to implement the telematics system that will partner with the new FMIS system. The telematics system will assist us with tracking and identifying and providing real-time vehicle status to help identify any vehicle misuse or abuse. In 2023, we implemented a new fuel program to supplement the existing county-owned fuel sites. We chose Quarles Petroleum as the vendor. They have 6 locations in Chesterfield and 28 sites within a 20-mile radius of Chesterfield, and many, many more beyond that. The primary benefit is the cost savings from not purchasing fuel at commercial station prices. In the first year, the county saved approximately $300,000 by making Quarles available for county vehicles. This program will allow us to decrease the level of additional county-owned sites we'll need to construct in the future. Our fleet leadership team is working with procurement to develop and select a vendor to install, maintain, and bill for electric vehicle charging stations at select county locations. There have been inquiries about whether taxpayers will subsidize private vehicle charging at county facilities. The simple answer is no. Citizens will use these stations and pay for the service that they use at those stations. The locations we're looking at for the vehicle charging stations are Fallen Creek Middle School, Western Area Middle School, A.M. Davis Elementary School, Bensley Elementary School, Western Area Elementary School, and the Western Area High School. The county locations include the Fleet Services Building, which will be for county vehicles only, the Midlothian Library, and also sites here at the county complex. We have 2 park and ride locations that we're partnering with CDOT on to have electric vehicle charging stations installed there. Those are the Fulgham Park and Ride site and the CTC Hall Park and Ride site. In the future, we will evaluate for additional sites as new facilities are built and dependent on demand. Next, we have our property and lease management. This function is the newest addition to the General Services team. Craig Willingham has done a tremendous job of managing site selection process, land facility acquisition, and lease facilities for several upcoming referendum projects. We recently completed the purchase of the Coroner Building that will provide much-needed relief for the Sheriff's Office and for the Commonwealth Attorney's Office in the courthouse. Additionally, Craig has taken the lead on the site selection process for upcoming county and school projects in collaboration with end-user groups. A sample of the projects includes Swift Creek Police Precinct, Appomattox Police Precinct, Dale Elementary School, Midlothian Middle School, and Grange Hall Elementary School. We are managing the lease renewal for departments and lease facilities. We're able to track the end dates of leases and determine if future county-owned space may be available, with the goal of only leasing space where it is absolutely necessary or provides an operational efficiency or benefit. We're truly seeing the benefit by connecting site acquisition with the construction management side of General Services. It's a much cleaner process from beginning to end. We also started the daunting task of managing the surplus property process. Since taking over this function, we've begun analyzing the list of vacant county-owned properties with the goal of determining what parcels are usable, what can be sold, and what may have an alternate use, such as using it for wetland credits, environmental protection areas, etc. As an organization, we do not need to hold on to parcels that serve no future benefit. So we've already begun addressing some of the easier parcels to resolve. Those examples include the old Chester Library, which was sold to the Oddfellows, the Ettrick Annex, which was sold to Maggie Walker Land Trust, and the Enon Annex, which was sold to a local church. So excluding the properties that have a planned use, an example being the future site of the fire station near Old 100 Road, there are two general categories that we have for surplus property. The first category being remnant parcels, small remnant parcels that the county has acquired over decades through various transactions. An example of this being 9330 Southwood Road. This is a narrow strip of land about 35 feet wide that was left over from previous conveyances. The other category being the larger parcels that potentially have some value as other use but have challenges. An example of this would be the property near Walton Park, 900 Walton Bluff Parkway, that has significant acreage but limited usable area because of an underground gas line and heavy RPA, wetland dedicated areas. Currently, we're compiling a list of properties for the board that will include a recommendation plan for each parcel going forward.
I want to, as you state that, I want to applaud you for that because that's what we want to see. We want to be informed about what we have and what we intend to do with it and how can we utilize the resources from the sale thereof to do other things we need to do. And I applaud this effort, something we really need to have in place for the board. Thank you.
You're welcome. Security management. Jason Stone has been busy past week, to say the least. He has been quite busy the past week here. But before that, Jason's been instrumental in working with the Workplace Safety and Security Committee. He's providing training for county departments to answer their questions and provide guidance for workplace safety and security. And during his efforts, which resulted in being awarded a NACO award, which will be recognized later on this evening, so congratulations on that. Our security team also partners with emergency management to support large-scale special events like the 4th of July celebration and the county fair. And Jason has been heavily involved in the county fair efforts this week. Additionally, security management has made several security upgrades by installing cameras at various locations. This year, we enhanced the camera coverage and public address system at the county fairgrounds, which has proven to be very helpful. Additionally, we're installing cameras at the Northern Area Convenience Center. That is the picture on the lower right-hand corner. Now, one of our more popular divisions in General Services, Waste and Resource Recovery. So, we've had a lot of discussion. So Jeff Howard is here and has done a tremendous job with his team and has worked extremely hard to make the transition to private recycler vendors very smooth for our residents. We're excited and very pleased with the results of the first year's effort since transitioning to our new model. In fiscal year 24, we collected a total of 14,845 tons, which represents an increase of 18% more than that was collected in fiscal year 23. As a reminder, we resumed 7-day-a-week operations in July of 2023 and opened the community recycling centers in October of 2023. So this increases, even with the community recycling centers not having a full year of operation, we've seen a tremendous 18% uptake in recycled materials collected. We have seen a steady increase of usage at our community recycling centers since they opened last October. Two of our seven parks, Huguenot and Rockwood, are being picked up 3 times a week. Rockwood, which is shown on this slide, with 12 containers, and Huguenot with 11 containers. Daniel Park is our next busiest location. The good news about the community recycling centers is that GFL, who picks up our recycling from the parks and convenience centers, indicates that our recycling material is clean, which means there's no significant amount of contaminant materials that cannot be recycled. So we're very proud about the diligence that our citizens are doing and putting the material into the bins, correct material into the bins. Our northern and southern area convenience centers also remain very active. At Northern, we have 18 single-stream containers and 10 cardboard containers that are picked up 5 times per week. And then at Southern, we have 11 single-stream containers and 8 cardboard containers that are picked up 4 times a week. We continue with tremendous community support efforts. Our customer support team helps residents with questions about the recycling program. We help them make contact with the private vendors to obtain pricing information. Dr. Miller, we recently dealt with one of your constituents, Ms. Copeland. We got her in contact with the right people so that she is aware of the options that she has available. And we also dealt with Lake Point subdivision. That was an interesting place because the HOA did not want to offer a bundled service package to their residents. They did not want to include it as part of their solid waste pickup package that they have with their residents. However, they allowed the residents to enroll in individual subscriptions. So again, getting our residents in contact with the correct vendors so that they know what their options are for recycling options. Our goal is to make sure residents are fully aware of their options to recycle, whether it's be curbside, the convenience centers, or the community recycling centers. And we're periodically meeting with the vendors to obtain updated tonnage information and feedback from them and provide feedback to them about areas that they can improve on as well. We continue our partnership with CVWMA with the e-cycling and shredding events and our education and community programs and with the regional support. I want to also point out at the last Planning Commission meeting, the request from TFC for a transfer station was approved by the Planning Commission. This will be coming to the board for your approval in September. The proposed transfer station will allow solid waste haulers to reduce the haul times by having a local site to deliver solid waste. The transfer station then loads the material so it can be loaded and hauled to the landfills by TFC. This keeps the solid waste trucks serving their local customers. Next slide's just going to show you.
Mr. Carroll has a question.
Yes, sir.
Neal.
Go back one slide. So the convenience center upgrades, at the southern area landfill, you have to wait in line. So whether you're there to wait in line to dump trash or to recycle, you got to wait in line. And
Right.
So I know it's coming up, but I want the community to know that part of what we told them we would do when we switched over to this is that we would make it more convenient for them to come to these our southern area landfill and northern area landfill. So what's the timeline for updating that so that the community, if they're there to recycle, don't have to wait in line, they can drive through? What's the timeline for that?
Sir, you read my mind. That's perfect timing. Perfect timing. So the next slides show the proposed improvements at southern and northern area convenience centers. Thank you very much. Perfect timing. I'll buy you a biscuit after that one.
They got
So
about 5 biscuits, Mr. Neal. They got about 5.
So we
just
expect to
joking.
open the express lanes by November of 2024. And this slide here is our southern area convenience center, where we are showing the area where the recycling traffic will be able to move away from the solid waste traffic. Currently, we do have 4 bins temporarily set up there where people can drop off the recycled materials without going through the full queue. But that's just a temporary measure. We're looking to end up with this result that we have on the slide. And then we have a similar layout for the Northern Area Convenience Center, where we're proposing to bring the traffic in through the second entrance, following the green arrows, and let them drop off their recycling and then exit out the main entrance. Again, separating the traffic for both sites, get the recycled traffic in faster and get them out faster as well.
Can I make one suggestion on that?
Yes, sir.
At least on the southern site, if there's any way to redo the fencing so that the drop-off could be available 24/7. As I'm looking at the slide, it might be a little challenging to get the entrance gate in, but you may be able to redo the fence line to come around that recycling area and back up. That would allow for 24/7. I'm not sure it's possible, but if you could at least look at that, that'd be great.
And just one of the things that happens sometimes with 24/7 access to bins is you don't get the clean materials. The parks dawn to dusk is helping contain that because there's people around. But we can analyze the risks and even try it if that's worth trying. I didn't mean to interject.
No,
Thanks, Dr. Casey, for comment. Appreciate it.
So again, thank you for the opportunity to provide an update and your continued support.
Sorry.
Yes.
As long as we're talking about
Question, Mr. Neal.
recycling,
Yeah.
you said that there was an 8% increase with the
18%.
Okay, so from what? What were you starting from? Because before it wasn't being done by us, and so I'm just asking as far as what is the quantitative?
So before, we looked at the numbers that we collected in fiscal year '23, and then we also have data that goes back several years. Our 14,845 is one of the higher numbers that we've had in several years. So what we were looking at was the tonnage that was collected at the convenience centers, and then also the reported tonnage that was collected through the CVWMA contract. So we were capturing what the community was doing. But now we have a different method.
Yeah, the only thing, Mr. Chair, the only thing I'd like to interject is
Yes.
it's because even this year was a partial year for these community recycling centers. The true apples to apples test will be next fiscal year where we have 12 months of them and actually the better access to the solid waste convenience centers, which even that will be a partial year. So I don't want to defer the true apple to apple analysis, but from my observation is the tonnage is all the same sources, the variety of sources added up in total. So with it being 18% year to year, it could only be higher, hopefully, with a full year of the community recycling centers. And then it can only be up even further higher to the degree we make the solid waste convenience centers more easier to access.
Okay, and one other thing.
Yes.
I've been in line at this one where the line has been backed up past the entrance to the second entrance. So is there going to be some kind of, to keep people from blocking the entrance for the recycling? I'm just saying. It gets crazy there on a Saturday or Sunday.
We'll have to look at that and make sure that people turning into the recycling entrance have an opening to do that.
If I could interject in,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
Dr. Miller.
So a couple of questions. Obviously, the transition from us kind of coordinating the curbside recycling and then moving to this new system has been very challenging. I know that when I was going through multiple campaigns, that was one of the key questions that came up over and over and over again. Issues related to how much it cost to do it went up substantially, obviously, because at one point you were paying for it through an additional, through, I guess it was through real estate tax or anything like that, and then now you're paying separately. And multiple trucks coming in more often into the community. What's interesting to me is that, like with anything with change, I can't help it, I'm trained as a psychologist, that change is difficult. And so this was a new system, a new thing coming up. I have a couple of questions in that, or one comment is that I had 2 community conversations, and there were 30 people in each one. That was not one of the subjects that got brought in either one of the meetings, in the conversations. So this is a public hearing. This is a public meeting. So I want to put out to my Midlothian district that my email is millermark@chesterfield.gov. And what I'm asking from the Midlothian district specifically is I received many emails early on saying, bring back the recycling. And now what happened was that, one, it didn't get brought up in the community conversations, and I saved every one of those emails, put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then sent it out to everyone and asked everyone, where are you right now with recycling? Where do you stand on this? And what I got back from multiple emails was, you know what, it's kind of working. So now I'm confused. So I'm asking my Midlothian specifically to say, I want emails. Is it working? Is it not working? And is this something that we want to make a priority at bringing back? Now, connected with that, I know that it was very expensive to have the curbside recycling and us sponsoring it. And my question is around, how much is this costing? You may not know off the top of your head, but I'm curious to know, with all of the bins and all of the places, I'm curious to know what that dollars is. They're coming in 3 times a week, so I want to get a feel for the offset of that also.
So our annual costs with our recycling program as it sits now, with the community recycling centers and the convenience centers pickup, it's about $300,000 a year.
$300,000 a year. And what was it when we were doing curbside?
When we were doing curbside, we were paying it through CVWMA. That was several $1 million tab.
My memory is $6
It
million.
was going to go to 8, I think.
It was going to be, I remember
8.5 was where it
Right.
landed.
8 was where it would have been
right.
if we had renewed the contract.
And Dr. Moore, if I could just, maybe it might help
Yeah.
your
Thank
next
you.
thoughts,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The parks and so forth, the only apples to oranges is that we're probably getting many more people who live in multifamily units or townhomes or certain even neighborhoods that CVWMA's contract didn't go to. So I don't want to make it seem like it's a one-to-one shift. I think part of the growth in this tonnage is, quite frankly, people who always wanted to recycle, they just never could find it easy to do.
Got it. So there's a chance here that this just isn't including those individuals that decided to make an agreement with a private vendor to pick up curbside, and so that's being taken care of, and now this is for those folks that are in commercial real estate and
Yes, sir.
multifamily. Got it.
And then the second part that can help you too is we're not done. As you know, one of our goals is to further engage with many HOAs and really understand who they are, who the contact people are, not just from board members to have future community conversations, but for us to engage with them and push out information. To the degree the HOA is properly structured in certain ways, like many neighborhoods have done, they can use their own powers of purchasing and economies of scale and bundle what is already maybe a solid waste agreement with solid waste and recycling.
Thank you for that. I mean, where I am with it is, if it's going to cost $8 million, I mean, one of the common concerns I have with regard to real estate tax. And so $8 million is going to translate into, give or take, about a penny per 100. And so the question I have for my constituents is, which one are you wanting? And I want to just get a feel for that. I don't have a feel for it any longer. So I'm hoping that folks are going to be watching this and they can give me a feel for what they're looking for.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Other question? Yeah, Mr. Eagle.
Just to add to that, interestingly enough, over several years of community conversations, it had never come up until this set that I just had, and one person brought up that they thought that because they didn't see the bins at their neighbors' houses anymore, that people had stopped recycling. And fortunately, because it was a community meeting, multiple other people in the meetings said, no, you're not going to our parks and our other drop-off locations. We're seeing huge amounts of people doing that. So just because you don't see a cart in front of somebody's house that you used to see doesn't mean they've quit recycling. They just changed the way that they recycle. But the numbers that our private haulers pick up are included in your numbers, just as all of the numbers that CVWMA picked up prior to the change were already included. So we're getting the apples to apples. other than we haven't had the programs in place long enough to truly see what the total change is.
Correct.
But even with that, we're still at 18% more in collection.
Very
Thanks,
excited
Mr.
about
Engel.
that increase.
Thanks, Mr. Engel, for those points. Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We can always do better, right? So
That's our goal.
So
You're on target.
one of the things I think we need to look at is where our challenges rise in the recycling process. So yes, we've made it very convenient. We have, I think, 7 parks now and 2 recycling centers. Are there other locations within the county that can be identified that could be hubs for recycling as well, that could make it more convenient for people to recycle? There may be some seniors that are struggling, that are having issues, that we may be able to find a solution to try and help them.
Okay.
And so, can we do better? Always, yes.
Okay.
Should we try and find solutions? Yes. And the community input that Dr. Miller's talking about from all districts is important. If you have a challenge in the Dale district, you should bring it forward. A challenge in the Matoka district or in any of our districts, and then we should hopefully be able to try and find a solution to make it work. When we changed over to this program, one of the things I was very interested in seeing is where are we going to see an increase in tonnage? We've seen that, and it potentially can go even higher, which means that we have less stuff going in the landfills now that was going in before, and it's actually going into recycling. And it's, so I think it's important, but we do, as a community, need to continue to strive to identify any way we can to make it more convenient for people, because the more convenient it is, the more I think people are going to participate. And yes, some people have the means to pay for the pay service, but there may be those who don't, who want to actually do what we do at the convenience centers. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for those comments, and I agree with them. And so I want to chime in and say, as you mentioned that, particularly with seniors who may have other needs and challenges, I think we want to take a look at that, what we can do to help our seniors in that regard, with regard to recycling as well as other things. But I always want to know that I want to know basically is what is the sentiment in the community? What do people think about the current system versus the prior system, and where we are? What is the satisfaction? Supervisor Snyder, I'm sorry, I was stealing your time. Excuse me. Go for it.
No. So because there's such a huge savings, just throwing it out there, is it possible, like, to have, like, some of they said that the apartments and stuff don't have it, like, to maybe provide a recycling bin for some of them? I
can try and answer that, Mr. Chair. We've already banked the savings as part of this year's balanced budget, so it doesn't mean other initiatives can't be had and balanced in future budgets, but what we're referring to, the transition that has happened, that really was embedded in the current fiscal year you have today.
Okay, that's correct. And you mentioned the number was $8 million?
8.5.
$8 million. We're gone of $8 million that we had to add into the budget. Yeah. So thank you for that comment. Any other questions or comments, supervisors? Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Carroll.
Mr. Chair, I'm just going to say that it's a good idea she has. We need to look at these different ways that we can make it more convenient in the communities, and including encouraging apartment complexes to say, why don't you participate and get a container in there?
A ban. Yeah, absolutely right. Great point. I appreciate it. Good dialogue. So, Dr. Casey, we know. Now, first of all, no other comments or questions. I want to thank you for outstanding work you're doing. You caught my attention earlier when you said $300,000 of savings. That's why I wanted for fuel. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I just had to highlight that because I love that. I want to see more of that, and I want to encourage how we spending the dollars that we spend in every area. And I got an initiative for the planning group I'm getting ready to launch relative to that. So I'm glad they're here today because I got an idea. I haven't even floated it to anybody yet, but I got something that materialized in my mind. But that $300,000 piques my interest because that's money we can divert to other ways, and we can also consider maybe more tax relief for the citizens as well. So, but thank you for that. And I think across all departments, those are the kind of things we want to hear as a board, and we want the directors to share that up, Dr. Casey, with us so that we are apprised of savings and where we can do. And I think it encourages and motivates. And in that regard, too, I'm a big proponent of rewarding savings. I urged our HR department yesterday, Dr. Casey, to look at implementing a program so if any employee has an idea about saving money or where we can cut costs, we want to reward them. We don't want to just take it. We want to give them a little benefit bonus back coming in the near future, and we want to look at that via the HR department as well. But yeah, we're going to give a party. Yeah, we're going to have parties too, like the pizza party. But I'm talking about tangible money in the hands of employees who can save money and help us monitor our costs. And that $300,000 can go a long way toward a party. But thank you, sir.
You're quite welcome.